What is up, everybody? It's JT Sports Match, you guys, with another video. In this video, I'm here with my 2020 NFL Draft first round draft grades and my reactions. So I'm going to be grading all of the first round selections and the first round of the draft. And I don't give grades like a plus or a B minus or anything like that. I just give out straight out grades. You either get an A, B, C, D, or F. So before I get into it, make sure that you check me out on my social media platforms. The links to those will be down in the description down below. JT Sports underscore is my Twitter handle and my Instagram username as well. So make sure that you go ahead and follow me on those down in the description down below. So with the first round pick, no surprise here was quarterback Joe Burrow out of LSU. I'm giving them a A. Listen, there's not really too much to say that hasn't already been said. We knew Joe Burrow was going to be the first overall pick in the draft. Cincinnati Bengals went ahead and took him. I think this is going to be a really good selection. Interested in finding out how the Cincinnati Bengals improve their offensive line. With the second overall selection, the Washington Redskins took edge rusher Chase Young. Once again, not really a surprise here. We knew they were going to end up taking the edge rusher Chase Young, and now that they drafted Chase Young, they now have probably one of the best front sevens in all of football, especially when you look at their defensive line now. You got Jonathan Allen, you got Ryan Kerrigan now, and then you add in Chase Young. That is a really, really good defensive line that the Washington Redskins are building up there in Washington. With the third overall selection, another surprise to majority of people, Jeffrey Okudah goes to the Detroit Lions. Now, a lot of people were a little bit 50-50, or some people were like 75-20, and to between who would the Lions choose. It was either Isaiah Simmons or Jeffrey Okudah. The Lions go ahead and they select Okudah. I like this pick here. I'm giving them an A. With the fourth overall pick, I have the New York Giants took offensive tackle Andrew Thomas out of Georgia. I'm giving them an A. I'm really glad that they chose to go on the offensive side of football, improving the offensive line and ensuring that they can protect Daniel Jones, the franchise quarterback, for the next couple of seasons instead of going ahead and taking Isaiah Simmons. Now, I know they probably wanted to take Isaiah Simmons, but I mean, overall, they need to focus on protecting Daniel Jones and improving that offensive line more than going ahead and taking a linebacker. So I think this was a really good pick here. They get an A from me. With the Miami Dolphins, with the fifth overall selection, they took quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I'm giving them an A as well. If they would have took Justin Herbert over Tua, I would have lost it. I would have lost my marbles, and I'm not even a Miami Dolphins fan. If they would have took Justin Herbert over Tua, I would have given him an F straight up, because there's no way that I was going to believe those smoke screens that the Dolphins are going to take Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa. I understand the injury concerns and things like that, but listen, he's going into a situation with Ron Fitzmagic, the way that Fitzpatrick has played this past year. He doesn't have to start right away. Fitzpatrick is going to be a good bridge quarterback. He's not going to play bad enough that you're going to have to throw Tua into the starting lineup week one. So Tua gets another added year, or a couple of more months to heal up from his injuries and learn the playbook. With the sixth pick of the draft, excuse me, the Chargers took quarterback Justin Herbert out of Oregon. I'm giving them a B. I really think they should have chose Isaiah Simmons, because listen, a lot of people who were commenting over the draft and things like that, the analysts kept saying that they didn't believe in Tyrod or something like that. I disagree with that statement. Tyrod Taylor is not a bad quarterback. Tyrod Taylor is a guy who has won games in the NFL. He has been to the playoffs. So I mean, Tyrod Taylor is a quarterback who is going to play bad enough to lose you any games. Now, the thing with Tyrod that a lot of people say is that he's too conservative and things like that. But listen, with Tyrod Taylor at the quarterback position, just because he's conservative, I don't think that means you should go ahead and draft Justin Herbert. I think you should have went ahead and drafted Isaiah Simmons and improved that defense. But I mean, it's not a bad pick. I understand the mentality, so I give them a B. But overall, I don't think Tyrod Taylor's a bad quarterback. And for those of you guys who are going to say Tyrod Taylor doesn't really take a lot of chances downfield, okay, but he doesn't turn the football over. And if Tyrod Taylor was started last year, the Chargers probably could have made it into the playoffs when you look at how often Phillip Rivers was turning the football over. So I'm giving them a B. I don't think it's a bad pick, but I mean, I would have preferred Isaiah Simmons. With the seventh pick of the draft, the Carolina Panthers took defensive tackle Derrick Brown out of Auburn. I'm giving them a B as well. I think this was a pretty solid selection as well. Really, they could have went secondary. A lot of people felt they could have went secondary here, but I mean, it wasn't really no cornerbacks or any defensive backs at this point in the draft who the Carolina Panthers could have took with this pick without it being a reach. So I think Derek Brown's a pretty solid selection. I give them a B there. With the 8th overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals surprised a lot of people. They took linebacker Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson. Now, me personally, I felt that the Arizona Cardinals should have taken the offensive tackle. When you look at the fact that Kyler Murray was running for his life back there, you would have thought they would have went ahead and would have insured the offensive line and drafted one of these franchise offensive tackles. But I mean, I understand the mentality of drafting Isaiah Simmons because Isaiah Simmons is a rare defensive prospect. We're most likely never ever going to find another guy like Isaiah Simmons in the draft again. He can play cornerback, he can play safety, he can play edge rush, he can play linebacker, he can do a lot of different things. So I'm really interested in seeing how the Arizona Cardinals defensive staff gets him implemented in the defense. Like, what position is he going to play? I mean, it's just a lot of opportunities and positions that the Arizona Cardinals can set Isaiah Simmons in. So I mean, I don't think it's a bad pick. Like I said, I understand he's a rare player. When you got a guy like Isaiah Simmons on the board, you can't pass up on him. But again, you can also make the argument that this was probably one of the best offensive tackle classes that we have had in the last couple of years. So I mean, it's a lot rare to find a starting franchise caliber elite offensive tackle in this day and age in the NFL. It's only like a handful of guys who you can say are elite caliber offensive tackles. But again, it's like every once in a while, it's a once in a lifetime prospect that we never see again. And again, that's Isaiah Simmons. So I understand the selection. I give them a B. With the ninth pick of the draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars took cornerback C.J. Henderson out of Florida. Wasn't really a big surprise to me. The Jacksonville Jaguars have had a tendency of taking Florida players over the last couple of drafts. So, I mean, this isn't really a big surprise to me. And also, this was probably the biggest need on the defense side of the ball. And it would have took a wide receiver. I absolutely would have went ballistic because then that would have made no sense. So, you trade away A.J. Boye. You're having basically a rebuild on the defense side of football. So, I mean, you would have liked to start that off with cornerback C.J. Henderson, and I think this was a perfect fit for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Some people felt like the Jacksonville Jaguars reach doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because C.J. Henderson was the second best cornerback in this draft class. He's not that far from how good Jeffrey Okudah is. So, I mean, it made a lot of sense for the Jacksonville Jaguars to take C.J. Henderson. Plus, he was right down the street. With the 10th overall pick, the Cleveland Browns took offensive tackle Jedrick Willis. I'm giving him an A there. Jedrick Willis is going to improve that offensive line. He's going to give Baker Mayfield a lot more time to throw the football compared to what he had last season. And also, this is also going to improve Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry as well, because then Baker Mayfield is actually going to have time to sit back and throw the football to those guys. So I'm giving him an A there. Thought this was a pretty good pick. With the 11th pick of the draft, the New York Jets took offensive tackle Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. Now, me and a lot of people were split between what the Jets were going to do. Were they going to go ahead and take a wide receiver? You had Ruggs, you had JEUDY, you had CD all on the board at this point in the draft, but they went ahead and did the smart choice in ensuring the offensive line and Mekhi Becton. And the reason why this makes a lot of sense is because the New York Jets, I mean, football is a game that's won and lost inside the trenches. And I mean, if you can't win the trenches, it doesn't matter how good of a receiving core you have, anything like that. The quarterback doesn't have enough time to sit back and throw the ball to those guys. So Mekhi Becton, this is an A grade for me. I'm also giving the Las Vegas Raiders an A as well. They took Henry Ruggs. He was the first wide receiver taken off the board. And I mean, it was a surprise to me, but it wasn't that big of a surprise as you may think. Like, I was shocked. Like, I really thought they would have taken Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb. But then again, I forgot that Gruden has an obsession with guys who run fast 40 times. And also, the Oakland Raiders have also been really prone to taking fast wide receivers in the first round. So I believe like they took in a couple of speedsters in the recent member, I believe. I don't know if Hayward Bay was a first round pick. I don't remember, but I mean they have a tendency of liking to draft fast wide receivers in the first. So I mean this isn't really a big surprise to me. So Henry Ruggs, I'm giving him an A. I think he's going to be really good in that Las Vegas Raiders offense. You already got Tyrell Williams. You're going to have Darren Waller there. Then you got Josh Jacobs there as well. So I think this Raiders offense is going to be really good. With the 13th selection, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded up. Well, basically, they swapped picks with the 49ers, and they took off the tackle Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. I'm giving this pick an A, even though I don't really understand the reason why you swap picks, really, because I don't believe the 49ers were going to take off the tackle. I'm pretty sure they would have went Kinlaw either pick. So I mean, I'm pretty sure Russ would have fell to Tampa's laps anyhow. And a lot of people are probably gonna be like, "Why you tripping? They just gave up they basically swapped this and gave up a fourth round selection." And yeah, they did that. And yeah, fourth round selection made that seem all that big, anything like that. But again, a lot of people seem to fail to realize that majority of NFL rosters are compiled of guys who got drafted in the second through six rounds of the draft. Those guys make up the majority of NFL rosters. So basically, if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you just gave away a starter basically with that fourth round pick. I mean, all in all, good selection. Give him an A. Tom Brady should be happy. With the 14th overall pick, the 49ers took defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. I'm giving this an A. Now, a lot of people were shocked because they thought they probably would have took Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb. But I mean, Javon Kinlaw made a lot of sense. He also was on the Bleacher Report app saying that if it was one team that he wanted to play for, who would it be? And he said it would be the 49ers. And for them to hold, his dream came true. He's now playing for the team that he wanted to go to, and the 49ers. And I think this really is going to solidify the 49ers defensive line because they got rid of DeForest Buckner. They traded him away to the Indianapolis Colts. So now you bring in a guy like Javon Kinlaw, who is an elite pass rusher. I think he's going to be able to have some success right away for the 49ers. The Broncos took Jerry Jeudy with the 15th overall pick. This, without a doubt, is an A. If I was giving out grades like A pluses and things like that, this would be an A plus in my book. The Denver Broncos were salivating at the fact that they wanted to get a guy like either CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, or Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs was the ideal guy that they wanted, but I mean, he ended up getting taken by Oakland. But I mean, you can't really complain too much because I mean you still got one of the best receivers in the draft and Jerry Jeudy. So I mean, look, if Jerry Jeudy is going to have a really big season right away, right off the bat, I think he's going to end up being in the running for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And pair him up on the opposite side with Cortland Sutton, and then you got Drew Lock slinging the football. I think this is a Denver Broncos offense that's going to be really, really interesting to watch, especially with Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay in the backfield as well. Then you also got Noah Fant, who was probably the best rookie tight end last season. So I mean, I'm really interested in figuring out how good this Denver Broncos offense is going to be when the 2020 NFL season kicks off. Now, this is probably the worst pick of the draft so far when the Atlanta Falcons took cornerback AJ Terrell from Clemson. Listen, I understand that AJ Terrell, you know, hometown kid and things like that, but come on, man. I really felt this was a reach. You could have got Damon Arnette. I mean, I don't really like this pick, man. But I mean, I'm not going to penalize them too much for it because they do need a cornerback. But for me, I felt this was a little bit of a reach. I'm giving them a C here. Then you got the Dallas Cowboys on the other hand. They surprised a lot of people. Instead of taking a guy like Xavier McKinney or Grant Delpit or Antoine Winfield, instead of focusing on the defensive side of football, instead of trying to get another cornerback to replace Byron Jones, you know, Damon Arnette was still on the board. These guys go ahead and they draft another wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. Now, listen, I know Dallas Cowboys fans were pretty happy, but let's be honest, you needed defensive side of football. You needed guys in the secondary. So, I mean, now you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Michael Gallup, you got Amari Cooper there, you got Ezekiel Elliott, you also got still one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, but I mean, still, I don't know, but I'm gonna give this pick a B, man. I mean, I don't think it was a terrible pick at all. I think it's a good pick because you add more talent to the offense, but I still felt they probably should have went defensive side of football because who is going to replace Byron Jones is the question. Now, with the 18th overall selection, the Dolphins took off the tackle Austin Jackson. No surprise here. I had him marked to the Miami Dolphins for the last couple of mock drafts I did, either 18th or the third first round selection that they had. So, I mean, I think this is a really good fit here. You ensure that offensive line, so when Tua Tagovailoa does become the full-time starter for the Dolphins, he won't be getting whacked 24/7 like the Miami Dolphins were last year. Now, Austin Jackson, in a lot of people's eyes, was a little bit of a question mark because some people had him going in the first round, some people had him going in the second, some people had him going in the third. So I mean, he was a really intriguing prospect, but all in all, I felt the Dolphins made a good pick here, taking with the 18th overall selection. Now, with the 19th pick of the draft, the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know why I keep saying Oakland. The Las Vegas Raiders took cornerback Damon Arnette. They're getting an A for this pick here because I thought a lot of people were unfairly criticizing Damon Arnette, talking about his 40 time, how he wasn't all that fast and things like that. I think that's a bunch of bull crap. David Arnette deserved to be drafted in the first round, and I think it was a little bit blasphemous that a lot of people had him going in the second round and things like that. So really happy that my guy David Arnette got drafted in the first round like he deserved to be. He's going to the Las Vegas Raiders. He should be able to start right away because the Vegas Raiders have been a team that has struggled to find a really the Raiders secondary has been trash ever since Del Rio was the coach. So I mean, the struggles in the secondary has been for the last what 3 to 4 years. So I mean, I'm glad they took a cornerback instead of probably taking another wide receiver or something like that. So David Arnett, good pick here, giving them an A. With the 20th overall selection, the Jacksonville Jaguars took edge rusher Caleb Von Chasen. I talked to a Jacksonville Jaguars fan who is a close friend of mine. He said he really liked the pick, so I'm giving him an A as well. I think this was a pretty good pick. Now they should be able to go ahead and trade Yannick Ngakoue without any problems. With the 21st selection, the Eagles took wide receiver Jalen Rager. Now listen, it made sense because they needed a wide receiver, but I still felt they should have took Justin Jefferson. I felt Justin Jefferson was a lot better than Jalen Rager, but I mean, I don't think this is a bad pick, but I still felt Justin Jefferson would have been a better fit than Jalen Rager. I'm not saying Jalen Rager isn't doing anything like that. I just felt like Justin Jefferson was the best receiver available on the board, and I felt the Philadelphia Eagles should have went ahead and take him because he could play slot. He could also play outside as well, but I don't think Jalen Rager is that bad neither. So I'm giving them a B for this pick. With the 22nd overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings go ahead and select wide receiver Justin Jefferson. A lot of people had him mocked. Well, I had him mocked to the Minnesota Vikings on a couple of mock drafts, and I think this is a very good pick. And I mean, he reminds me a lot of Stephon Diggs when Stephon Diggs was coming out of college. I mean, he can play slot, he can play outside as well. And Justin Jefferson, if I had to bet on any of the guys who got drafted in the first round on the offensive side of football who will have the biggest impact, I think it's probably going to end up being Justin Jefferson because then you're going to have Adam Thielen, then you're going to have him on the opposite side of Adam Thielen. So, I mean, I think this is a really good pick. I think Justin Jefferson, out of all the guys who got drafted in the first round so far, I think he has the best chance to have the biggest impact. Now, the LA Chargers traded up with the New England Patriots to select linebacker Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma University. Been him an A. A lot of people were surprised that the Patriots traded out, but I'm not really surprised because a lot of people kept thinking that they were going to end up taking the quarterback. They'll believe that I'm on the Jerriston hype train, and this pick just all but confirms that. So they select linebacker Kenneth Murray. And also another interesting thing is the fact that I had Kenneth Murray mocked going 23rd overall to the Patriots. But I mean, they traded away that pick and the Chargers picked them up. So I don't know if that still counts as me getting the pick right or anything like that. Somebody let me know down in the comment section down below. But I mean, Kenneth Murray was a really good selection. They need another linebacker, and they got that and the guy Kenneth Murray. With the 24th overall selection, the New Orleans Saints took center Cesar Ruiz out of the University of Michigan. I don't really know if he's going to play center. I think they're probably going to end up moving him to offensive guard. But I mean, I really like this pick. I'm giving it an A. A lot of people are giving it like a B minus somewhere around that range or a C. I really like the pick. The New Orleans Saints offensive line. One of the biggest problems on offense was the offensive guard position. So I mean, I felt they could have used him to improve there. So I don't know if they're going to end up keeping him at center or they just going to move him to offensive guard. I think they will most likely end up moving him to offensive guard. I think that makes a little bit more sense. But I'm giving this pick an A, man. I don't care what anybody else says. A lot of people are going to say it's a B or C or anything like that. I think it's a good pick. You can never have too many good offensive linemen. With the 25th selection, the 49ers traded back up in the draft after they swapped picks with Tampa. Basically, they traded down, then they traded up. You get wide receiver Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State University. I like Brandon Ayuk. I think he fits well into the 49ers offense. You pair him up with Deebo Samuel. So I'm really interested to see how Shanahan gets him involved on the offensive side of football. This guy is an explosive, big, strong, physical wide receiver. I really like him. A lot of people thought he was going to end up going late first, early second, but I'm really glad he ended up going in the first round. He's one of my favorite players in this draft class. With the 26th overall selection, the Green Bay Packers traded up and shocked the world when they pretty much took Jordan Love with the 26th overall pick that they traded up for. Now, a lot of people felt they should have went wide receiver, and I can understand that, but at this point in the draft, it's not really a first-round caliber wide receiver left on the board. Maybe T. Higgins, Denzel Mims, but I mean, you can get both of those guys in the second round. It's like a lot of depth in the draft class, which is what I was arguing with Green Bay Packers fans on Twitter about. Like, you didn't really have to take a wide receiver in the first round. I mean, this is one of the deepest wide receiver classes that we have had in a very long time. So I mean, you can still get a first round caliber wide receiver in the second and third rounds of the draft. So they traded up for Jordan Love. I actually am not surprised. I actually felt the Green Bay Packers could, if Jordan Love slipped to this point in the draft, that they could end up drafting him or trading up for him. So I'm giving this pick a B. I think Jordan Love should be a pretty okay replacement when Aaron Rodgers decides to retire. This guy has a lot of potential. A lot of people are comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, and I can understand the comparison. It's just all about how he develops to the NFL level. Like, is he going to be able to lower his turnovers, or is he going to end up being another Jameis Winston? Because listen, Jameis Winston had turnover concerns when he was coming out of college, and those never really got fixed. So is Jordan Love going to be able to fix those mistakes? Is he going to be able to read those coverages, read those defenses, or is he just going to end up being a turnover machine? And if he ends up to fix his turnover issues, he can end up being one of the best players from this draft class, probably one of the best quarterbacks in this draft class, because this guy has a lot of upside. With the 27th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks took linebacker Jordyn Brooks out of Texas Tech. I really thought they were going to go fix up that offensive line on the interior. So this really surprised me, but they ended up taking Jordyn Brooks, which is a solid pick. I'm going to give them a B. I'm not going to give them a C. The reason why I give this is a B is for the fact that some people said this was a reach, but really it's not a reach for the fact that nearing the draft, like the last couple of days, it was rumors that Jordyn Brooks could end up going in the first round. So, I mean, I think this is a really solid selection. Jordyn Brooks was one of the best linebackers in college football last year. He was second team All American. So, I think this is a really good fit for the Seattle Seahawks. With the 28th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens take linebacker Patrick Queen. I'm giving this A because I had him mocked to the Baltimore Ravens and mostly all of my mock drafts. So, I mean, I think this is a really good selection. The Baltimore Ravens need a good linebacker. Not only is he a solid linebacker, but he also gives the Baltimore Ravens the coverage linebacker that they've been looking for the last couple of seasons. So, I think Patrick Queen, absolutely great pick for the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have been killing the offseason, man. The Tennessee Titans took offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson from the University of Georgia. Now, this guy is super huge, man. This guy is a behemoth of a man. I actually met this guy in person a year ago. Now, the thing with him is that he needs a little bit of development, really. Hasn't really I really think that him in the Tennessee offense makes a good fit, which is why I'm giving him an A, because you lost Jack Conklin in free agency, and Jack Conklin is one of the best run blocking offensive tackles that we have in the NFL. You go ahead and you replace him with Isaiah Wilson, who is one of the best run blocking offensive linemen in the NFL. He's also really big as well. So, I mean, he shouldn't have no problem coming in and having production right away in that Tennessee Titans offense. Now, with the 30th overall selection, the Miami Dolphins were doing really good until they got to this point in the draft. They went ahead and they selected cornerback. No, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, but I'm giving this a D. I think this was the worst pick of the draft so far, and it's really surprising because the Miami Dolphins were absolutely killing the freaking draft, and then you go ahead and you select another cornerback. Listen, if you wanted to go ahead and take a slot cornerback, I can understand that, but I don't think you should be using a first round selection on a slot cornerback when you have other needs. Like, you could have went ahead, you could have drafted another offensive lineman, or you could have drafted a halfback, or you could have drafted an edge rusher, or you could have drafted a safety, but instead you draft another freaking cornerback when you already have two of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. There's no reason why you should take a slot cornerback in the first round of the draft. So I'm giving this grade a D. And if a Miami Dolphins fan wants to go ahead in the comment section and argue about it, you can go ahead. But I mean, you cannot overlook the fact that you should not be taking a slot cornerback in the first round of the draft. This made absolutely no sense at all. Now, with the 31st overall selection, the Minnesota Vikings took cornerback Jeff Gladney. I had him out to the Vikings, so I'm giving this grade. I'm giving him an A grade for the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings basically have no cornerbacks at all on the roster. So now you got a guy on Jeff Gladney. Now in the second round, maybe they can go ahead and get another cornerback and a guy like a Trayvon Diggs or a guy like Christian Fulton or somebody like that. So good pick for the Minnesota Vikings. Now the last pick of the draft, the Kansas City Chiefs took halfback Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, a lot of people felt they could end up taking him in the second round of the draft. I thought they would end up going up with the DeAndre Swift, I believe is the best halfback in this draft class. But I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he basically fits everything that Andy Reid wants out of a halfback in his offense. He can catch out the backfield, and he's really good, really elusive in the open field as well. So, I mean, I think this is a really good pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs. I give him an A. So, let me know what you guys think about my draft grades down in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.